Hi beautiful people, and you might have seen me in the same exact outfit. That's because I'm filming 2 videos back to back. And what I wanted to say today was that going to school, and I've been to school, let me tell you, I've only been out of school for a year of my entire life, and that was this last year. I'm 28 and I'm Tiana Maighan. You can follow me on Only My Own Validation on Instagram and Tiana Maighan on TikTok and Instagram as well. And essentially, I've been in school my entire life from the age of 4, I guess. I went to pre-K and then elementary school and then high school. And then we have a thing called Cégep in the province that I'm from in Canada. So college right before university. Then I went to university for 4 years for a bachelor's of education. And then I went for 2 years for a master's of fine arts in scriptwriting and story design in Toronto. So I moved provinces and cities and I pursued that. What I really learned after all of this schooling, and it really hit me today, was that all that freaking, and this is going to come out in a way that might show that I have a bit of resentment right now, but all of this education and the topics that I learned and the things that I learned how to do and master and you know, obviously I pursued things that interested me, at least at the time. Sometimes life moves forward and you no longer are as interested in certain things, but it taught me to be who I already was. So I already was someone who educates, who likes to speak, who is organized and creates lessons in any way, shape, or form. And that, you know, Bachelor of Education was just me embodying that version of me that can talk to multiple people, in this case, you know, a classroom of kids or teenagers or adults, and teach them, because I don't fear people watching me speak. Although I used to actually be the kid that had to ask the teacher if I could do the presentation separately without the students watching me or my peers watching me. And then I went into education, and obviously I learned how to just speak in front of a room full of kids for elementary school, and then I went on to teach older, like young adults. Anyways, but who I am inherently is someone who does, and does have a lot to say, and does like to teach and inform and help to learn, and I love to see people understand things and transform themselves. My master's, where I learned screenwriting and story design, I was already someone who was obsessed with filming myself and creating videos with my friends, or storytelling. I wrote short stories, I wrote poems, I did a blog when I was younger, like 10 years ago, and I just was writing all kinds of things about like philosophy of life and optimism and all of these things. It was called optimism because like T for Tiana, optimism, anyways. And the screenwriting and story design masters, it's like, obviously I went and I mastered the craft of actually writing scripts. I learned so much. I got to really enjoy myself in those 2 years, but ultimately those degrees, like, they're just papers that essentially are validating who I already am. I am already someone who likes to teach and educate and organize and lesson plan and all of these things. I am already someone who writes with my master's. I am already someone who writes and who storytells and who designs stories and imagines scenarios and characters and understands people. It really is already who I am. I would like to study therapy soon. I don't know if I'm going to go all in for it yet, but that would also just validate who I am as a person, because it's just something that I like to do. I've always been the friend who's like giving you all of these tidbits of therapy or wisdom or internal nudges. And what I'm trying to say here is that a lot of the time, the reason why it's so dissatisfying once you get out of school and you realize, like, I did all that and now I have to go in the job market or something, or I did all that and I don't really even want to do this job, but I enjoyed learning the stuff, I don't understand. Okay, that's because these papers were just a paper in the external world saying, hey, this is who you are. Hey, yeah, actually, you've really proved who you are, so we're gonna give you this after 4 years. Hey, yeah, I know you're this, but like also, like, if you give me all this money, I'll give you a paper and I'll tell you like even more who you are. But you're already that. And this isn't just for schooling. This is for anything. Don't get to a point where it's been years and years where you're doing all of these things that are distracting you from the whole point of life, which is just to be who you are and to exist and to one day pass away. Okay, we're all going to, so we don't need to shy away from that topic. I'm looking back, and I was sitting there earlier today, and I was like, I already knew I wanted to do YouTube videos when I was 19. I posted one. You can go see, it's 8 years ago. I was there. I was sitting on my bed, and I was like, I have a soy intolerance or soy allergy, and it makes me not feel well when I eat soy. By the way, now I'm pretty good with soy. And I was relating it. I was making this metaphor, and I was relating it to being allergic to soy. It's like being allergic to toxicity and cutting out things that aren't good for you. And I was already doing that kind of analogy type of talking and metaphors, and it's just the way that I am. And here I am almost a decade later, and I am still only wanting to do that, really. Like, if you could not make me work ever a job to like get income to pay bills, like I would gladly not do one, right? I would do something related to writing or script writing or, you know, creativity. And if a paycheck comes with that, that's where I'm happy. But I would do it anyway. I would do all of that anyway, right? I would sit in a field of daisies and talk to people about life and about how I've come to understand how to be the most at like peace with myself and just enjoy life however it comes. And if you rip away all of those things that are external, that are telling you or validating essentially, this is who you are. So I am this, I have this paper, I am this, I have this other paper, I am this, I have this house, and I live in this place, and I have this partner, and I have this identity, and I'm a capitalist, or I'm a conservative, or I'm liberal, or okay, these are all just things that you are grasping onto that are essentially telling you this is who you are. But you don't need them to tell you that. You can tell them. You can tell the world. You can just be and exist, and that is who you are. Who you are is inherently you in every second and every moment of the day. And I look back and I think, oh my gosh, at 19 she wanted to film videos. At 28 she wants to film freaking videos. She wants to do that and nothing else. I don't really want to do anything else. I don't want a job. You know, if I want a job, it would be something cute. Like I want like to work in a little bookshop with like my little tea and my coffee, and like I'm looking at the books and I'm reading books, okay? I feel like I would act. If acting could provide for me, I would just act every day, little scenes, things like that. That's the stuff I did as a kid. I would write, right? I would do the things that I love because I'm here to exist one time. I'm very poetic, I'm artistic. I look at the world around me and I'm amazed. And I come up with stories very, very easily within my mind. It just happens all on its own in there. And that's who I am, and that's who I prefer to be and how I like to be and to live. And there is no rule book for you to have to go out there and get a job and be in this or that or this or that, and then you're valid. Because you're valid just for existing. You're worthy just because you're here. And I urge you to no longer run from or distract yourself from what it is you always wanted to do anyways, because it'll catch up to you and you'll end up wanting to do it anyways. You know, we all have heard the story of the 50-year-old or 60-year-old who's worked so hard the whole life, and then he's like, man, all I wanted to do was, you know, do woodwork in my shop behind my house, like in my garage. Like that's all I wanted to do all day. Or you hear the video gamer who's like, I just wanted to play video games, and now he makes video games. I'm actually talking about my brother, because he was like that when he was young, and now he like develops things, apps and things. But you can't escape who you are, and you can't rely on the papers or the work or the people to tell you who you are, because you're always going to be that regardless. So just be it without you needing what's out there to tell you that you are it, because you are. I'm just gonna keep making these videos, because if I don't make these videos, I will die with my song still in me, without having sang what I needed to sing, okay? I will keep creating because it's what makes me feel like I'm still here. And if I don't, I feel a little bit dead inside. And that's why I do this, and I keep showing up for myself, because this is me just being me, being the me I wanted to be before the last 6 university years of schooling, where essentially I left those 6 years with 2 degrees and thinking, wait, all that happened within that was tell me that essentially all I want to do is YouTube. Like, what? Like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go get some big girl jobs and like work, and then you're out and you're like, wait, but actually all I want to do is exactly what I wanted to do before all of that, before I did all that. I don't regret it. I love school and I love learning, and I would go back in a heartbeat. But it's time consuming, costs money, and I don't necessarily, I like to be free. And I was free at 19. And at 19, often, they say, what are you going to do when you grow up? Or like, you need to pick a major, or, but often that 19-year-old already knows what they want to do. I already knew. But I understand, because at 19, you do look at them and you are thinking they're very young, and it is good for them to go structure themselves in a certain setting, go to school, get something, because it can help you in the world to have that kind of education or something to back you up. But yeah, that hit me today. I was just like, okay, so I did all that to then remember that all I wanted to do was post videos. And it is what it is. It's life. It's life. We're full of life. At whatever age you're watching, whatever age you are watching this, you're full of life. And everything you have done prior to now, you can absolutely just start now and be like, this is what I want to be doing. And I've known, and I am that. And I don't need anyone to tell me that I am, because I am. And I'm telling you this because even if you get those people to tell you who you are and those papers and everything, you'll still feel like, wait, why did I need that? So just do it. Just be it. Don't do it. Just be it and do from a place of being. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Only my own validation on Instagram, and I'm Tiana Megan, and I'll see you soon.